Hello, y'all. Hi. How are you? Happy, oh my gosh, happy new moon solar eclipse and Virgo at 29 degrees. This is bonkers. It's the day. And I'm so glad that I get to share this day with you. How are y'all doing? I'm so sorry that I'm a little bit late, but it's been one of those days. And I don't even know, do I gotta, can you, okay. You know what? We'll leave it. We'll leave it. How are y'all doing? Happy eclipse to everybody here. Y'all can hear me, right? There's still I have this setup. I have to wait for Apple to do an upgrade or an update to their software that doesn't allow me to plug my mic into my computer. So it has to go through my laptop, and the laptop has to be it's a whole long story. But I've got Uranus on my ascendant. So the way I think that I explained that is just like it's basically like I have 4 Mercury retrogrades a day, 4 or 5. It all starts in the morning. Uranus is showing its chaotic side, its disruptive side, its breakdown side. So it's really, honestly, I think I told you, I started doing a list of everything that's been happening every day for me since Uranus came up my ascendant, and then I just stopped because I'm like, this is just too much and I don't have the time to do this anymore. But it's just I think it's Uranus on my ascendant for me personally that has just locked and loaded how real astrology is. It's very interesting because remember, Uranus is part of the prison portal. So all of y'all are feeling it too. And I want to hear your stories. Everyone feels it in different ways, right? And that's the prison portal that's happening right now. But Uranus and Gemini, there's a lot to talk about October. But I want to just make sure that everyone is excited about this new moon solar eclipse. Remember, there's a lot happening around it, right? So we have the eclipse opposite Saturn. Have y'all been feeling that? Anybody been feeling that? So you're going to start feeling a little bit of this energy. And so that's why I'm so happy to be here with you right now to just spend this time with you for this eclipse. That's major, but you have your forecast up, and we're going to talk about October. October is going to be a very, very, you know what I say every month, right? It's going to be very different from September. And it's like everything that you've gone through and will go through the rest of September, okay? Everything, even the summer to now, to the end of the month. It's now. October is your complete transformation. That is what October is. October is so emotional too. It is one of the most, but in a great way. I'm saying, like, you're going to be emotionally moved. All of y'all at this point in time should be in some process of having a personal transformation and breakthrough. And there's some major things happening in October. If you thought September, listen, I said August, I said July, August, September. Well, they're all going to be a little bonkers with what's happening. October is the same thing. I can't even, there's so much happening in October. I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to break it down with just the highlights, because what I'm going to do, I have my live streams, right? And I hope a lot of y'all are going to joining on Great Awakener, my predictions live stream. And then and then I go through the channeling, the remote viewing that I do. Oh, we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about, but there's even in your current forecast, I wanted to give you a little sneak peek of the comet. Yeah. And as I said, it's still energy. And it's the same thing with any planets or asteroids or planetoids, fixed stars. They're all going to have some sort of impact, not only on the collective, on humanity, but you individually. But we don't have an archetype for an interstellar object. It's still going to be within within our solar system. So anyway, I love October, and you're going to love it too. Sure, there's got to be some aspects that are just, challenging, as we always get for every month, but the overall theme is truly, this is your transformation. Because remember, we're going to be moving into Scorpio season. We have Mars in Scorpio. Mercury will be moving into Scorpio. And remember, Scorpio, it represents transformation, represents death and rebirth. Yeah. On top of that, not only will Mars be incredibly active and happy, so you're going to be using that for your transformation, like no holding back. Remember, there's an intensity there, but at the same time, Pluto, Scorpio's modern ruler, officially goes direct. So all of that internal work that you've been doing, all that shadow work that you've been doing, now it's being applied. Okay. And Pluto is transformation. Pluto is death and rebirth. Pluto is the deep. It's going deep. And what did I say about Pluto in your monthly forecast? Pluto is out of bounds. It's like 23 degrees. It's outside, it's ecliptic. And so that's rare. Planets do that. Okay. Who was out? Mars was even outside its ecliptic over the summer. That's why you saw some bonkers things over this summer. And Mars being the god of war. Yeah. So now it's Pluto that's doing the same thing. But Pluto is, unlike Mars, Pluto is destruction. Yeah. The lower energies and the lower frequencies. And I did say when he's out of bounds, he's a little wild. He can be a little extreme. He's like Dennis the Menace. Unsupervised. Well, I think Dennis the Menace always unsupervised? Anyway. But it can even be, he's like Garfield. He just does his own thing. Remember, Pluto's rebellious. So you're going to be feeling that. You're going to be feeling that. So I want you to think about this. And I say this all the time. As part of your transformation, when I say death and rebirth, you can't have that rebirth part unless you have that death part. That's why I keep saying out with the old, in with the new. You've got to change. Let me rephrase that. You have to be willing to change, and you can't resist change. Remember, in tarot, the death card is attributed to Scorpio, and we're moving into that energy. Remember, we're moving into Scorpio season 2, halfway through, right? Toward the end of October, but you still have all that Scorpio energy before with Mars and Scorpio, which is strong. And I'm going to throw up some banners here, and we're going to go through some of my favorite aspects and the ones that you're going to love. And then we're also going to show you maybe some challenging aspects. To be honest, there's really nothing. You went through the hard part, right? September, there were some strong aspects that were challenging. So you really did go through a lot of the hard part. There's still going to be a lot of, like, really trust your intuition. There's still something that's happening that I'll talk about, but let me see what's going on here. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So let me find, okay. I don't have any. Okay. So I'm going to have to just, let me put up some banners for you. The first thing is I am going to, so you can see this visually. Let me just adjust. Sorry, it's already been it's a bit of a really bonkers morning for me. But that's what an eclipse will do, right? For all of us, for everybody. What I'm going to do is I'm actually, instead of skipping around, let me do something here. I'm going to go in order. Okay. This is something that I really love, and it has actually nothing to do with the planets. Okay. There we go. Right off the bat. So Juno is leaving Scorpio. Remember, Juno's been there for some time. And that's why you could have felt when it came to partnerships and relationships and, you know, even contracts and marriage and love, there was that intensity with Juno and Scorpio. Yeah. And now Juno is leaving and moving into Sagittarius. Why is this a big deal? It's because Sagittarius is all about the big picture. Sagittarius energy is adventurous and fun. But Juno is, remember, always doing things for the greater good. Yeah. It's that fairness, that balance that she seeks. But the reason why this is so important, and you're going to feel this, is because Juno is Jupiter's wife. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So there's this really great harmonious energy with Juno in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, you know, there is an element of it ruling the courts anyway, right? Ninth house energy, which is very spiritual. It's spirituality, and it is your belief system. It's your worldview. And so this is going to be enormously, you're going to feel a huge shift, okay, moving into October. And of course, it really depends on your sign. Everyone's going to feel it in different ways, but this just works. I like this because it doesn't have that intensity. When Juno was in Scorpio, there could have been, and you could have felt like, really, when it came to partnerships and relationships, there was so much focus there. And whether that was love, whether that was career, whether that was just, you know, your best friend or your mom, whoever, there could have been a little bit of intensity there. And it was maybe even psychological. A lot of contracts. Who signed contracts? Everybody should have had something with contracts, but again, in different areas of their life, or agreements, or Neptune retrograde may have made things a little bit hazy. But again, this is really great. Okay. This is really nice. With Juno moving into Sagittarius right away. So there's so many aspects. By the way, there's even more happening in October than September. Okay. And remember, I think it's after September 24th, there's like no aspects planetary wise. But in October, there's a lot more. And I'm going to try to do a lot of, I'm going to try to not repeat things that I'm going to say in your forecast that will be coming out this week. For October, your full October forecast. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention, and everyone should just prepare, because this is time. I told you time is speeding up, right? Time is speeding up. We're already in September. It's September 20th. We're moving into fall tomorrow. And spring in the Southern Hemisphere. I think I told y'all I didn't have a summer. I was working all the time. I was going through my health issues. Ruby is, and she's in the back, but she's been going through, as you know. And thank you so much for all your comments and all your love and your kindness and your patience. We're coming out of it. So it's good times. And remember, everything is energy. And I did feel all your energy. So and I'm about to get emotional. So I'm going to just drink my, yeah. Okay. But I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much. Now, I can't believe it's already going to be October. Now, I want you to see this. October 6th is when we have the full moon in Aries. Okay? Everyone's going to feel this. Everyone. Because in different areas of your life, and this one is significant. And again, we'll talk about your monthly forecast that are coming up this week. There's a sense of independence. There's a sense of entrepreneurship with the full moon in Aries. I actually really like this full moon in Aries, but I want you to think about March. Remember when we had that 5-6 planet alignment, the one of a kind that never happened. And that's when every single outer planet and some inner planets were hovering. They were just about to tip over into their new signs, right? Neptune moving into Aries, Saturn moving into Aries, everything leaving that Pisces. And Pisces is the end of the zodiac. And so everyone started feeling that new era. Remember, I called it like this wave that was pushing you into this new you. That's where it all really began. And that's when we had the new moon solar eclipse in Aries at the end of March. And so this is the corresponding full moon for that. So again, you see that you're going through this transformation. Even the entire year, you have been experiencing new things. You've been wanting new things more than ever with that prison portal. Yeah. And so this is happening during Libra season. Remember, we're still going to be in Libra season the first half of October. And so there will be a focus on partnerships and relationships, and there may be some endings here with partnerships and relationships for new ones or adjustments. Okay. But it is Aries energy. So it's really, really nice that this is happening. And we'll talk more about it in your weekly forecast. Now, let's see. I am going to add one more here that you can there we go. And this is okay. This is when things start really picking up mid-October. And again, I don't want to ruin the surprise. There's a lot that I'm going to tell you in your weekly forecast, but just to give you an idea, this is when Pluto officially goes direct. Remember, Pluto's been retrograde since what, May? So you've been going through a lot of that internalizing and going within and what do I want? And especially, Pluto being an Aquarius, that's all about humanity, but it still has that revolution, that evolution that within you, you were feeling that charge of how do I want to transform and how can I contribute to the collective or to your workplace, or, you can take baby steps, right? Or your family, but this is going to be a big thing because remember, Pluto's out of bounds. And so with Pluto having been retrograde, a little soft, but now he's going direct. All right. So he will bring that intensity that he's known for. Okay. And he's still at those early degrees in Aquarius. Remember, Pluto's the most outermost planet. It takes him a really long time to move. And so I think he's only going to get up to 3 degrees this year. That's nothing, right? He's still going to be at that early degree point, and he'll have another retrograde in 2026. But you're just going to start feeling this. Pluto going direct, you're going to feel. And remember, Pluto is also empowerment. You got this. This is happening at the same time that on the same day, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head because I don't have, well, let me see. Let me hear. Actually, I think I do. Yeah, it is happening the same day. So on October 13th, this is also happening. So Venus is moving into Libra. Venus rules Libra. Venus is officially out of Virgo. Remember, you will have Venus in Virgo for the first half of October until October 13th. And remember, that's a little, Venus is like, okay, I'll go with this, but I'm going to be very hyper focused and all about the details. And it's, very that analytical energy, getting things done. This is a very, very different feel with Venus and Libra. And so I love this. Venus is at home the way that Mars is at home. Mars and Scorpio. So Venus and Libra, that's, again, so much focus on partnerships and relationships. Yeah. Because that's Libra's domain. And with the fact that Juno is in a better place in Sagittarius, right? Juno is Libra's asteroid. And then Jupiter is going to be very active, which I'm going to talk about. Yeah, remember, Jupiter only had one aspect last month. Actually, only one. I think it was a month before, only one as well. So you're going to see a little bit more Jupiter that's more long lasting in October. But Venus and Libra, just know that this is special, and you're going to find yourself being very social. I always say Libra is a very social sign, but again, Venus being at home, very nice. And then just one aspect that I'm going to show you that you are going to, again, really, really, really love on that same day. I don't want to say it's around that time, right? Because remember that the perfection will be on this day. Well, I'm going to put it on, I'll put it the day after. And also it really depends on where you live, because a lot of aspects, they will happen while you're sleeping, unless you live halfway across the world. So right off the bat, you will have Venus in Libra that will trine Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. And so Venus trine Uranus, by the way, that's rare, okay? And this is just enormously special. But the fact that you have Venus trine Uranus and then Uranus trine Pluto, Venus trine Pluto, so you see you have a grand air trine with Venus. And so you had one with Mercury, a grand air trine with Mercury, with Uranus and Pluto. And remember, nobody on this earth has experienced this. It's been 84 years since Uranus has been in Gemini, 250 years since Pluto has been in Aquarius. So nobody has experienced this type of Venus and Libra energy. So this air trine is enormously special. And very different. Again, it's just really fun to see and we're going to have many, many, many grand trines. In fact, why don't we, okay, let me do one more here that you definitely should take note of and put in your books. I don't know why I say that. Do people even say that anymore? Add it to your Notion. I don't know. Your Trello board. Let's see. There we go. October 21st, we have the new moon in Libra. So remember, we're still under the window of the air trine, right? We're technically leaving that, but now you have the sun and moon in this air trine locked in with Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius. So it really is another one here, right? The moon. This is, if you saw your annual forecast, your 2025 forecast that I did, and you can still find them. This is one of the best new moons of the year. of all of 2025. And you're really, I think this is going to really give you a glimpse of Uranus trine Pluto for you personally in your life. I think that this brings a lot of that clarity. It's in all air signs. So the fact that you have a Venus ruled new moon where Venus is in her domicile, trining Uranus and Pluto, you're going to love this. You're going to love this one. And again, huge focus on partnerships, relationships. This is when a lot of y'all are really just going to be signing contracts. And it's going to be in this way where it's opening up this whole new world for you because Juno will be active. Yum. And remember, Juno is out of Scorpio, and that's it. And we'll talk about, you know, a couple other asteroids and planetoids. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but when we get to November, well, let me show you something here. I'm going to show you something. Okay, I'm going to wait until I'm going to show you something right here. I was going to wait until your forecasts come out because I'm going to talk about this in your forecast. And since I am at like 80% better health-wise, we're going to deliver. Yeah. Okay. So let me just write this up. Oh my gosh. Okay. So remember, there's a lot happening in October. So I have to just kind of like be October 22nd. Now you have Neptune retrograde, still retrograde, passing that 0-degree point back into Pisces. This is enormous. And remember, with these retrogrades, whenever they go direct, planets go direct or change signs, or you feel it, you feel the shift. Neptune's a little different. And I'll explain it in your monthly forecast. But now you have Saturn and Neptune back into Pisces. So remember what I said in your current forecast right now, you're going to start feeling like Back to the Future or a little deja vu. You see all the planets are going back to where they were the past 2 years. Yeah, because it stops with Saturn. And Saturn moved into Pisces. I think it was March 2023. Neptune has been in Pisces for 14 years. So in terms of what's happening here with Neptune in Pisces, yeah, you can consider the last 14 years of your life, depending on, you know, what area it is in your life or your sign. It's going to be different for everybody, but for the collective, we'll talk about it. But do you see how you have Jupiter in Cancer? Yeah. You have Saturn in Pisces. You're going to have Neptune back in Pisces. You're going to have Mercury move into Scorpio. We are moving into Scorpio season. You have Mars in Scorpio. Do you see all that water sign activity? It's going to be water dominant. Hence, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be a very emotionally moving month. Water signs represents like emotion and intuition and feelings. So, because literally on the same day, this is going to be a loaded, like just when we get to October 21st and the 22nd, it's so loaded. I'm going to show you one more thing. On that same day, we move into Scorpio season. And remember, Mars is still here. And Mercury has moved into Scorpio at this point. They're actually going to conjunct, and we're going to talk about that in your monthly forecast. But Mercury moves into Scorpio the day of the full moon in Aries. So you've got the Sun, Mars, and Mercury all in Scorpio. And so you've got the stellium in Scorpio that brings that intensity. This is happening literally the day of Neptune moving back into Pisces, water, yeah. And the same day, or the day, literally the day after the new moon in Libra, or it forms that air trine. So there's a huge, again, concentration of aspects around this time. It's gonna be a month. It's gonna be a month. And I think that, like I said, there are some there, yeah, of course, there's gonna be squares. I think actually we do kick off the month on October 1st with a square. It's not you've gone through, to be honest, you've gone through the hard ones. Yeah. So a lot of these squares and oppositions that we will have in October, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm going to show you one that I think a lot of y'all are going to make a lot of decisions around this time. And this one isn't even a square, but it's an opposition. October 11th, we will have Venus opposite Saturn. And of course, we'll talk about this. Yeah, we'll talk about this when we get to your forecast. But there's just so many great things happening that outweigh the challenging aspects. And this is just one, like, yeah, we're gonna be thinking about being realistic with money and love and relationships with this opposition. Okay. And remember, at this point in time, Venus is still in Virgo. So I don't mind that. I don't mind it. I'd rather Venus and Virgo opposite Saturn in Pisces than, like Venus and Libra, for instance. Venus will be moving into Libra, remember, 3 days after this. And then we do have another Venus. Venus will be opposite Neptune at one point. There's so many great things happening in October. I don't want to give it all away because your forecasts are going to come out in a few days. I'll give you one more thing. I'll give you one more thing to get excited about. And this is just going to help you like really plan for the month. So write this and oh my gosh, like, okay. Write this in your books or take note. October 27th. That's when we have Mars trine Jupiter. And so, wow. This only happens once a year. This is one of the best days of 2025 because you have Mars, which in Scorpio in its domicile, and Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. So they're both working hard for you. And with a trine, making things effortless for you. Remember, trines already are the nature of Jupiter. So one of the most powerful, one of the most best days of 2025. And it's happening at the same time Mercury will trine Saturn. Like, you can't make this. It's happening right at this. I think that's happening the day before. And so that's like agreements and contracts and words you speak, words spoken to the ether, where Saturn is building that long-term future for you. At the same time, Mars is trining Jupiter, where you're getting all this luck and expansion. And with all the actions that you take, that drive. And actually, bundled around this time, oh gosh, I'm gonna put this in your calendar. I'm gonna give you this. I'll give you this. That's the thing. I want to save some of these for your forecast. I'll give it to you. All right, just 2 days later. So remember, but these are with outer planets, with Saturn and even Jupiter and so you got Mercury and Mars trine Saturn. So you have Mercury trine Saturn. Mercury is actually going to trine Jupiter too, by the way. Mars trine Jupiter, and Mercury trine Neptune, or Mars trine Saturn, but Mercury will trine Neptune too. I gave away one of the things that, anyway, so you see at the end of October, you have a bundle of just enormously auspicious aspects that's working in your favor. And sure, there is going to be like, I think one opposition around that time, and that's it. But it's not even, again, that one's just like, hey, it's Mercury opposite Uranus. So just be mindful about the things that you say. The one thing that I think I mentioned in a couple of your forecasts, and I didn't say it in every single one, but mid-month, when we do have that new moon, I'd say about October 21st. Let me just pull up I got to look at my chart. Okay, so around October 24th. Oh, this is one of the biggest things of all. This is one of the biggest things of all. Okay, so I'll give you one more thing. I was gonna save this. I'm feeling. You can see I'm in a giving mood. This one's great. So I would say, I'm going to safely say, I'll even go all the way back to October 16th. This is the biggest thing of the month, to be honest. And you saw that there's already a lot of great big things happening. Okay, so October 16th, Jupiter will trine Saturn. And this is really special. Remember, we had Jupiter square Saturn. This is part of the bigger cycle with the Jupiter Saturn conjunction that 20 years, right? So that happened in 2020. And so it goes through, cycles for the next 20 years with Jupiter and Saturn doing this dance. And from 2024 to 2025, Jupiter was squaring Saturn. And so a lot of Geminis felt that because Jupiter was in Gemini at the time. Saturn was in Pisces. Pisces felt that, but a lot of mutable signs felt that. And then you had all the eclipses that are in Virgo and Pisces. So mutable signs have been feeling a lot of change, but also like a lot of walls that would be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. But now you have Jupiter in Cancer, trine Saturn in Pisces. And again, trines are already the nature of Jupiter. So this is, again, very, very special, because what's going to happen is that I call it like the big one, Jupiter trine Saturn. The big Jupiter trine Saturn aspect comes next year. That's when Jupiter is in Leo, trining Saturn in Aries in 2026. That'll happen next summer. But this, you'll have it for a few months because Jupiter is going to be at 24 degrees at this point. Saturn has retrograded all the way back to 26. So they're within 2 degrees of orb. But as you go through, October, Saturn's going to go back a little bit further and further and further and further and hit that 25-degree point. So you actually have Jupiter trine Saturn all through November, because in November, Jupiter goes retrograde. And so then Jupiter will be just kind of sitting at that 25-degree point. And so you have this through November. But what makes it really special, it is part of a water trine, because you will have Jupiter trine Saturn. Let me get back to the date. And then by the time we get to October 23rd, 24th, you have a grand water trine with Jupiter trine Saturn but also Jupiter trine Mars and Mercury that I was telling you about. And then you have Mars and Mercury trining Saturn as well that I was telling you about. So you have this insanely auspicious water trine that includes Jupiter, the planet of luck and good fortune. And this is, remember, Jupiter moved into Cancer where it's exalted the first time in 12 years, which I always say that year doesn't really count. You have to think about 2001 and to 2003 to think about what happened for you. You can think about 2013, 2014. Again, every sign is going to feel it differently, but this is amazing because you're really going to see Jupiter strongly activated all of October. Again, Jupiter made little cameos, yeah, in August and September. That's it. And so Jupiter is just going to be very active, and that's enormous because you're going to start seeing all this expansion and abundance and inner wisdom. And the fact that Juno is moving to Sagittarius, his wife, that's really amazing. That's it's everything is. We even have Venus exile Jupiter. That's going to happen October 8th. Like there's so much happening here. So there's more amazing aspects for you personally, auspicious aspects than anything that. Of course, we still have some squares and oppositions and I'll talk about those, but there's really a lot happening in October. And at this point, every sign should be seeking change. You either have your foot in the door of this new world that you're building for yourself, everything that you want for yourself, right? Or you're already there and you're already in transformation mode. And this month, October, is going to speed that up. But remember, it is a very emotionally moving. It can be very emotional. Remember, a lot of water energy that we're working with. We're coming out of that air and fire energy, which we'll still have, yeah. But you'll start seeing that you're going to be exploring your emotional depths and intuition, your soul journey. And remember, Saturn, very active. Jupiter has an element of karma. So when you have Jupiter trine Saturn representing karma, I mean, this is truly you being on your path, on your karmic journey. October is so good. But again, remember, there is an intensity there in October with all this Scorpio energy. Pluto going direct, Pluto being out of bounds, Neptune re-entering Pisces, which we'll talk about. Okay. So to be honest, October is a month of just dramatic change as well. There's gonna be some big things that you're doing because it's a month of awakening. I mean, we're talking about Pluto going direct, Scorpio season, right? And then all these aspects that are really helpful for your journey and part of your awakening. It's just very spiritual. Neptune going back into Pisces is so, that is Neptune's home, is Pisces. So it really is like, there's just so much for me to talk about. Everything that's happening in October would take like 5 hours. But what's really but what I really love is like as soon as you move into October, you do have that Aries full moon. Remember, full moons are endings, and so there is a sense of even just like this purging of things that you need to let go. So it's still part of everything else that's happening. The prism portal, yeah. Neptune's still in Aries at this point, and so anyway. I hope that's helpful. Does anybody have any questions at all? It's so good to see y'all. What are y'all doing? Talk to me. Y'all, talk to me. What's going on over here? Ellen, you said you were mentioning how the water signs are being impacted as 29 I think you're saying a degree. Am I also likely to be as impacted? Every sign, Pluto's in your sign. Pluto's in Aquarius. And I just said it's going direct. You're going to feel that, but also Pluto's out of bounds. Yeah. And so every sign, the fact that we have a new moon in Libra, right? That is part that's going to be connecting with Uranus and Pluto in Aquarius. Even if you leave that out, that affects all the air signs, right? And so there's a bit of everything here. Everyone's going to be it's just this extraordinary change for every sign. And if you are at the 29 degree, like anyone, I think I mentioned this last week, anyone that has planets between 28, 29, 0, 1, 2 degrees, oh, you're feeling the changes. Actually, it was my astro charting. Was anybody there? The astro charting was I showed you my chart. I have, I think, I have 5 planets that are at those later degrees. And so, and the early degrees, like Uranus at Gemini at 0, and then my Chiron's at 1 degree. It just, so it has been a time for me, and that's why I'm like, does anybody else feel this? Does anybody else feel the energies? I mean, it's just been a little bit bonkers. But get excited. I mean, there's so much happening. And I'm just looking at the chart. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that I want to tell you, but there's so much happening. There's a lot happening. I think even when we get to November, yeah. I mean, even Ceres, Virgo's planetoid. Ceres is retrograde, but moving backward to those early degree points. So that's going to she's going to be activated. I mean, it's just, there's so much happening. So yes, every sign is going to be impacted, because whether it's just even, this water trine, right? You being in Aquarius, it's still having an impact on you, but in different areas of your life. No? So every sign is going to be, you're going to see a lot of movement, transformation, but growth. That should be another word. Growth is also like, October is all about growth. You're coming after the equinox. It's going to be really nice. Marshall, you're Scorpio rising. Should I check yourself into Bellevue? No, actually, I was actually talking to my friend yesterday who is a Scorpio, and his birthday happens to be the day that Mars trines Jupiter. And I was like, listen, you've gone through, and I looked at his chart, so I was giving him very, specific things, but you're good. You have a lot of great things happening. You have Mars in your sign. It's been 2 years. So remember, Mars rules your sign as a Scorpio rising. So yes, you will be going through a lot, and the universe is going to be demanding a lot from you with what's happening, but there's this ease to it, and there's this want. There's this I want this energy. No? So I would actually get excited, because thinking of what Scorpio's been going through, right? Even, and every sign, we're coming out of that haze. There was so much fog with Neptune. It's eclipse season. Eclipses are not easy, and they bring surprises. And everyone has been adjusting to the prism portal, which is Saturn conjunct Neptune, right? Trine or sextile Uranus and Gemini, sextile Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus trine Pluto. Everyone has been adjusting to that the past few months. And it takes months to adjust to it. And that's why I keep saying out with the old and with the new, because there's going to be a point very soon where, again, it is just non-negotiable. You have to enter this new you. And it doesn't have to be like crazy dramatic, but the way that it's what's happening is that like nobody in the world are in a place where they're like, oh, I don't want anything to change. I love my life. No, everybody wants something different. All 12 signs with this prism portal. And that's why it's saying, okay, you want it, you got to really work with the changes and not resist change, because what's happening astrologically, the world is changing and you have to keep up, right? And that's why it's part of you know how there's a lot of healers and spiritual leaders and psychics and channelers, mediums, always talking about this new earth. Yeah, whether you want to take it, you know, literally or figuratively, this prism portal is supporting that. Yeah, a brand new mankind, if that helps. Siaban, what is a water trine? I have so much to learn. Yeah, I literally just talked about this on Great Awakener and by the way, yes, this is, oh, you got a couple more days until the end of September. The founding member sale still going on, and you can find your promo codes are still, I mean, it comes out to like 40 cents a day or something like that. We have a hypnotherapist who starts next week. And remember, it's free for anybody that's a member. Anything on the site's free. And so any of the live streams you can jump on. They're all archived. You can watch them after. If you can attend the live stream, during the live stream, you can chat with it. I mean, it's just like this. It's just like this, but on Great Awakener. And so we have a hypnotherapist coming on doing hypnotherapy. And Christian still doing his astrology class. And who else are we're bringing a couple more people in, but then also I do my live streams every Sunday there. So and then I also I talk about aspects, charts. We really get into it. It's actually really fun. I would just look through the comments, like for the chat replays. Oh, church bells. You hear that? But that's a good question. I'll explain it a little bit more fully. It's just like an aspect. It's like any other aspect, but you got the support of all the signs in the same element. So that would be for water trine, that would be Scorpio and Cancer and Pisces. So it really builds up all the archetypes of what a water signs represent. But it's a lot more. There's more to it. There's more to it. They're very auspicious. Let's just keep it that way. They're really, really great. They bring in like an effortless energy. Just, you know, you have just one trine alone, that's great for you. But when you have a air trine, like a grand trine, that's all three. Oh, you're asking water. Oh, I see. I thought you meant grand water trine. Okay. Yeah. They're good for you. They're good for you. Greg, hello from Portugal. I love Portugal. Where was it? I went to Madeira a couple of times before it became like what it is now. Yes, Saturn 0 degrees in Sagittarius. Should I expect a roller coaster? I think everyone should. Everyone should. But again, with the planets and really great signs, like there's a lot of harmony that's happening in October. Yes, of course there are oppositions, there's squares. You've gone through some of the bigger ones. Okay. And if you handled the bigger ones that were happening over the summer and even this month, these squares that we have, they're not, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. There are a lot of squares, I'm going to let you know, but you've already gone through them. So some of these squares, remember, some of the squares, and I'll let you know in your forecasts that come out, some of the squares we've already had a couple times. So you've already gone through them. So that's why I'm confident like these aren't going to be like, you're going to be fine. There will be some that, like, Mercury will square Pluto, and that's just, there is going to be some truth coming out with that. Be prepared. And that's for everybody. Okay. That's happening at the same time as the full moon in Aries. And again, this is what I'm going to tell you in your forecast, your monthly forecast. But as you know, full moons illuminate. And when you have Mercury square Pluto at that same time, Pluto out of bounds, Mercury will have just moved into Scorpio at that time. Oh yeah, there's going to be some truths and secrets and revelations, and we'll talk about. But yeah, if you have Saturn at 0 degrees in Sagittarius, again, if anybody has any planets between 28 to like 2 degrees, yes, you will feel a lot of what's happening. So yes, I would expect a roller coaster, but a fun one. Like, you can make it fun. Lori, you said your husband has Sun in Aries. Yeah, I would. I've actually got to go, but that one, I don't have time to do charts this deep. I would just say wait until your monthly forecast, because then you can see what I say for your husband, okay? Or for, yeah, or not for your husband particularly. I didn't mean that or specifically. But yeah, if he's in Aries, but do you know his rising? You should know his ascendant. But the fact that you're saying that these planets are at 0, 1 degrees, yes. Like I said, anyone who has planets there will feel it. But it doesn't mean that if you don't have planets between 28 to 2 degrees, that you're not going to feel these aspects. Remember, 0 to 30 degrees, they're going to hit your planets at some point. I'm just saying there's a cluster of aspects between 28 to 2 degrees right now. But all of these planets are going to hit, they're going to travel, especially the inner planets, right? And then with the retrogrades, like for instance, Saturn, it just moved back into Pisces earlier this month. And so he's traveling back in his retrograde. And let me just look at the chart here. By the time we get to the end of October, he's going to be at like 24 degrees. Yeah, 25 degrees. And that's what allows him to have this trine with Jupiter. That's going to be at 24 degrees. And then Jupiter goes retrograde. And so they're constantly going there. But remember, the outer planets move slower. So if you have anything between, well, you got to look at the angle. Okay, so I would say for any water signs, if you have any planets in Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer between 24 to 26 degrees, you can give that a bigger orb. I would even say 23 to 26 degrees. You will feel the Jupiter Saturn trine strongly. But remember, there's also sextiles, there's conjunction, there's so many other aspects. So it doesn't disclude you if you don't have it. Yeah. So I'm just showing you the strongest of the strongest, but it still means everyone will feel it. Yeah. All right. Oh, Pluto and Virgo of that generation. That's, yeah. So he's going through it right now. again, anyone 28 to about 2 degrees going through big change. And that is because Pluto is at 2 degrees, 1 degree. And then we'll be moving forward soon. All right, y'all. I hope that was helpful. Y'all, what's going on? I'm looking at all your questions. Robin, you said you signed up. You don't know how to get into Great Awakener info. I signed up, but I don't know how. You can email support@greatawakener.com because I'm not sure what you mean by that. But yeah, you can email support@greatawakener.com how to get into it. Yeah, I would, and also in the community post, I gave instructions on how to sign up. Oh, and that's the other thing. It's gonna, like, just to give 2 announcements there. We are gonna, so that secret project that I've been working on behind the scenes for Great Awakener, that will be the first ever when it comes to this, like spirituality and astrology and birth charts and stuff. Oh, we're launching it in October. And you're going to see a completely new redesign to the website. We just had to get it up. I just had to get it up with the when we had the triple conjunction back on August 12th with Jupiter and Sirius. But anyway, y'all, okay, thanks so much, and I'll see you. I gotta hop on over there now, so I'll see you over there on greatawakener.com for the predictions. We're gonna do predictions. There's a lot happening in the world right now. There's a lot happening in the world. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the predictions I made, some that have happened, and then for the channeling session right after that, oh my gosh, there's some big news, and that comet, we're going to talk about that, the AI or 3I. Oh, was that a Freudian thing? I don't know, y'all. Okay, so your forecast, I'm going to be working on them. Oh, did Ruby, you also Ruby come in? All right, thank you so much, everybody. Happy new moon, solar eclipse in Virgo. Amazing. Okay, amazing. Really use it. Remember, it's a great eclipse. It's changing your life. Literally, like, you'll see it pan out for the next 6 months. But always put your energy out there. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much for being patient with me and all that. But I am feeling a lot better. And Ruby, she's still going through some treatments, and she'll get there, but she's hanging in there. All right. And I love, and all your comments and your love and support. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all go. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all soon. Okay, thank you. Bye, y'all.